Welcome everybody to episode 111 of the ADV podcast. And man, are we framed wrong today.
Are we? What's up, Beijing?
Oh yeah, let's do that, shall we?
What's up,
Oh
Beijing?
my goodness.
All right, anyway, guys, massive show for you today. We've got a lot of catching up to do. One thing that we have to first of all get out of the way before we start anything is tomorrow is the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot going on as far as that's concerned. But I was thinking a little something here. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, the Tiananmen Square massacre is something that happened far away and a long time ago. Especially in China. It's happened so long ago that you can't even talk about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to...
Just remember when the Australian university, where you had the Chinese students tearing down anything about the Tiananmen Square, anything about like critical to the CCP, and Drew was there and asked like, "Why are you doing this?" And she's like, "Oh, it happened so long ago. You know, it's not important. Shouldn't be talked about."
Because it's like an embarrassment.
So I was thinking about something that could quantify how old it is. Okay, and it just so happens that last night I was watching The Little Mermaid with my daughter. Now, The Little Mermaid was released at the same time.
That's right.
So when Sebastian the Crab's singing about being under the sea and worrying about Ariel getting married to a prince, students were being gunned down in Tiananmen Square and run over by tanks.
Yeah.
So that might quantify it for a lot of people, just how recent that was. Because I remember seeing The Little Mermaid when it came out.
Sure.
I mean, I was 9 years old, but that made a big impact on me when I was a kid. And so now you can give it a time frame. It's not something that happened so long ago that it's in the history books, and it's recent. It's within our lifetimes.
Little Mermaid was, according to my mother, the first movie I saw in the theater. My dad, however, disagrees and said it was Milo and Otis, which was a Japanese movie about animals.
Oh, I don't know that one.
So there's a bit of heated debate there, but the most important thing is we're talking about Tiananmen Square. But this show is not about Tiananmen Square.
No, we just had to bring that. We will talk about it, but
a couple details.
Had to bring that up just in case people think we've forgotten about it.
We will never forget.
Never forget. The Chinese government wants everyone to forget. But
we will make sure that doesn't happen.
Let's move and saunter right into what's new, where we talk about what's new in China. We've got quite a lot to cover today. Going to start with this lovely newspaper article. Maybe you can explain what's happening there.
This is actually... It's something that you'll normally see around China. It's just a little slice of life. Figured I'd throw it on there.
Sure.
This is from the Shanxi Daily, so it's one of the provinces in north-central China, a little bit western province as well. But anyway, it says the needs of the party come first.
Okay,
right?
That's a headline. That's a headline.
We're talking about not talking about a party. We're talking about the Communist Party of China.
Yes, yeah.
And that is just, it's not beating around the bush anymore. It's kind of just saying, you know what? This is more important than you and your freedoms and your needs. The needs of the party supersede everything. So you need to the gist of it is that you need to suck it up with the COVID lockdowns. You need to suck it up for government control. You need to suck it up if we're going to enter some period where we reduce your freedoms more. Yeah. Because the needs of the party supersede you plebeian pieces of shit.
Basically, imagine you had headlines like that in America saying the needs of the government outweigh yours.
That's quite literally what the.
But like, so shut up! You can't complain about anything.
Yeah, it literally says the needs of the government outweigh yours.
Yeah,
that's what that says in a headline. You imagine, you open up New York Times, you're like, what's in the news today?
Exactly.
The needs of the government supersede yours. Yes, exactly. That's what it should be subtitled as.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, other than headlines in the newspapers, we thought this was kind of funny. For those of you who can't read Chinese, it says "hui shui jiao de yu." By the way, saying fish in Chinese is very difficult.
Yu.
Yeah, yu.
It's yu, but it's.
But the way you pronounce it is,
yu. It's in the back of your throat. Yu.
Yeah, a lot of foreigners, including us in the beginning, have a huge amount of trouble saying.
You.
Yeah.
you. That means I want to eat fish.
Yeah.
我要吃鱼.
Exactly.
Yu is in the back. Anyway,
so that means what does that translate to?
That means knows how to sleep fish.
Yeah, able to sleep fish.
Able to sleep fish.
It can sleep fish. So basically, dead fish that they want to sell. It's like you can say that it's like five yuan. You know, it's like discount. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Italia.
Yeah.
So it's only 5 yuan for one. That's actually dirt cheap.
It is.
dirt fish.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's dead. So it's the joke is that they do this to get rid of dead stock instead of
Yes.
throwing it out, because they can still make 5 yuan.
Yeah.
which
Able
is
to
like
sleep
80
fish.
cents. And by saying it's able to sleep fish. Now, before anyone takes it seriously, like everyone knows the joke.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
But people will still buy it because
Yeah.
it's a bargain.
Yeah.
Especially IEs. You know what? This is a thing. I'm glad we brought this up.
Yeah.
We had when I had my school,
Yeah.
my first business, I had me and my direct staff, we would have like an IE. We just say an IE is like an old lady.
It's like a maid.
Maid. She would cook for the staff, right? So like lunch. And it's very common in China,
Yeah.
right? But it's like slop food. It's not good Chinese food. It's like the kind that you get at like a factory lunch or something,
Sure,
right? It was
sure.
that level. So I upped her budget to like 25 RMB per person. So she had 25 RMB per person to go, and then of course to pay her on top of that. But that's
Sure.
how much she could spend per head.
Yeah.
So, as all the Chinese staff, the Western staff, they all got about $5 per person in China. That's fine.
That's a lot.
It's fine. It's
It's
good.
for-
it's much higher
yeah.
than what she was used to.
Because you could go to a restaurant and get a
You could.
meal for that.
But I didn't want her making bad food
Sure.
for my staff, right? So she would make rice and a piece of fish or some beans and some vegetables and stuff. Just
Yeah.
typical fare, right?
Yeah.
But what happened was, it was great when I upped the budget. And then gradually it just got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Right.
To the point where everyone's like, they were a little bit embarrassed, but they're like, listen, like, are you eating this too? And I was like, yeah, I'm eating the same food as you guys. And they're like, this is off.
Yeah.
And what she was doing was buying rotten fish and rotten meat in particular and old vegetables, because what she was doing is saying, okay, you up the budget, but I'm going to spend less than before and then pocket the difference.
Sure.
So she was buying, you can go
Yeah,
buy
you can buy the rubbish
expired
stuff.
bad
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's horrid.
Yeah. She's like, they won't notice. Anyway.
It's not 5 yuan per gram, chat. This is 5 yuan each.
Yeah, tiao. So tiao is
is
a accounting
measure
word.
word for
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah. So, everything, just like a cup,
Yeah.
eBay or itiao, is like that basically
a
means like
horse,
one
EP.
stick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just depends on, it's one of those count words. And
It's
I guess,
accounting- a measure word. it's
I
called.
mean, yeah, measure word. We do use those in English. We'll say a cup of noodles.
Yeah,
Or,
for sure.
a glass of water.
they're
or
more
whatever.
hard and fast in China. Like
Yeah.
there's more of a rule.
There's things for long, thin things. There's
Yes.
things for whatever.
Yeah.
You learn that when you learn Chinese.
yeah,
But that
tiao-
just,
a fish is a long, thin thing.
yeah, so it's a itiao.
So it's saying it's only 80 cents per dead fish.
Yeah.
Which is cheap. It should be nothing. It's a dead fish.
Should be free. Anyway.
Anyway.
That was
Yes,
kinda
I
funny.
fired her. If you guys are asking, of course I fired her. Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. This has been going around everywhere. This is Tsai Ing-wen, the president, like an actual president, not a chairman. Democratically
President.
elected president of Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
English vegetables.
Yeah. And
There's
yeah.
a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Yingwen
Yeah.
is her name sounds like Yingwen, which is
Yeah.
English.
English.
And Tsai is vegetables, right?
Yes.
Now this doesn't
Obviously,
directly
those
translate
aren't
this,
the actual characters.
but the sound. So a lot of people in Taiwan call her English vegetables as a joke. Anyway, she's very well respected in the world, and we love her.
yeah.
She's great. I agree with most of her policy.
Yeah.
And she is testing out a little weapon here.
Yeah.
Just
It's a bazooka.
she went to Tainan, I believe, Taoyuan, sorry, to do a military tour. Mm-hmm. A bunch of new goodies coming from the U.S. coming in,
Sure.
making sure Taiwan's well equipped, against potential invasion for China. Anyway, from China. But there was a caption contest going around.
Yeah.
And I participated here.
Yeah, this is your caption.
I heard some lame ones, and I thought mine was pretty good. It says, "Say Thailand one more time." So for all the listeners out there that can't see this, she's holding it was an anti-tank
Just a bazooka, yeah.
bazooka type thing.
Yeah.
And the joke is that a lot of people mix up Taiwan and Thailand.
Yeah, it's so weird.
right. I kind of get it. Like if you don't know about Asia,
Starts with Thai.
it starts with Thai.
Taiwan,
Taiwan,
Thailand.
Taikwa, yeah.
Completely different countries, completely different people, completely
just
different language.
radically different.
Very different.
Yeah, so I thought this was a good caption
Yeah.
because it illustrates the frustration that Taiwanese people and Thai people probably go through.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a lot of comments on this post on my Instagram from people living in Thailand and Thai people, and they're like, "We deal with the same."
I know,
shit,
it's
dude."
got to suck.
Yeah.
Just remember, Thailand is where they use lemongrass and everything.
Yes, and Taiwan is where they have pineapple cakes and they speak Chinese.
And all the world's microchips
And all the
come
world's
from.
microchips.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of funny. Anyway, other than like presidents holding weapons, we've got something rather disturbing.
Explain disturbing.
Yeah, I know.
It is.
This is disturbing.
Tell me why.
Maltai is
By Joe.
baijiu, but it's China's most famous, revered baijiu. Baijiu, for those of you who don't know, it's a very hard liquor. All right, it's like 58%, which is what 100 and.
It doesn't matter. Nobody uses. I mean, people use proof, but people know percent.
Well, what is the proof of 150? Isn't it double?
Yeah, but I don't give
so
a
it'll be
shit.
118
Isn't percent
proof.
just better? Why double it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's just say that it's close to being able to kill you if you just drink it as it is.
Yeah.
Too much of it, of course. It's a very strong liquor.
Tastes like grass.
It tastes awful.
Tastes like brown paper bags and stomach acid.
It's as if you took, turpentine, or you took like a household cleaner or something, and you distilled it a bit and drank it.
I'm telling you, it tastes like brown paper bags.
Yeah.
It does. You
either
ever chew
way.
on a brown paper bag?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes maybe if you're eating a sandwich and you eat that by
Next
mistake.
time, try it, and you'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, I'll definitely try it.
Yeah.
We've both been quite heavy drinkers ourselves. Drank plenty of, baijiu in the past.
A lot in the China days, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell.
Throat stripper.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you right now that it's not a pleasant alcohol.
Yeah.
And that in China, you
can learn to tolerate
you can tolerate it, but it's drunk because of the status of drinking it, not because anyone actually enjoys it.
Yeah.
No one sits down and says like, I could really do it.
I mean, people will drink it, like especially people in the north will drink it every day, like alcoholics.
Yeah.
But they don't sit down and go, "What a great taste."
Yeah, they're like, wow, it's got such a wonderful
You
bouquet.
chug it.
Yeah, you just drink
It's
it
to get wasted,
and that's what it does. It does its job very well.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've got multi-flavored ice cream is terrible.
Is disgusting. That's a war crime.
It's terrible.
So guys, like just picture this. Again, close your eyes. Okay, I'm going to take you on a taste sensation. Sure. You take paint thinner is just too obscure because most people don't use it.
Yeah, most people don't drink it.
Rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol. Everyone knows rubbing alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol, right?
Right.
You got a cut. You open that up and you're like, oh, whoa. And you pour it through some markers and some, permanent markers like a Sharpie.
Yeah,
that
Sharpie.
smell.
Yeah.
You pour it through that and whoa. And then it pours through a brown paper bag and it ends up in like a little basin. You're like, I better drink this. That's what that tastes like. Now imagine making ice cream out of that. Not good.
No, that's not
a good
good.
idea.
Yeah, anyway, so it's not going to taste very good. That reminds me, in South Africa, there was a big issue with sort of homeless people and so on would drink methylated spirits, meths. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I do. You do. It comes in, it's purple. It's dyed purple. I think it's dyed purple on purpose to show that it's bad.
Yeah, it's a poison control.
Yeah, so basically it's dyed purple, comes in this, but in order to negate the bad things, they would drain it through a loaf of bread, right? So,
that's not gonna
no, I'm serious. They drain it through a loaf of bread, then drink it, and then eat the bread after.
Wait. First of all, for anyone that doesn't know, methylated spirits will make you blind.
It does. It actually makes, in about 6 months of drinking it, most people die.
And
Of getting into that habit.
Not only that, but even if you don't die in the process on the way, you are quite literally destroying all of your internal organs, including your liver.
It was a big thing in the 90s in South Africa. It was a big, it was a scourge on the streets, kind of like cocaine in the 80s.
I'm trying to ask you something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they pour it through bread, which, by the way, is going to have a very negligible effect. But
Sure.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Let's just say that bread has taken away that kind of like additive or whatever that's making methylated spirits poison.
Yeah.
Let's just say it works. And so then they drink it. Why are they eating the bread afterwards?
Because they get drunk and then all their inabilities have gone away. I think that's how, and they're homeless and stuff. They're going to be hungry.
Oh my God, I'm not laughing at that.
I know, but I think maybe, I laugh at that part too because
it's ridiculous.
The idea is that you can drain the bad things out with the bread, but then why eat the bread?
Why eat the bread?
Anyway.
Let's just say you believe in the bread.
Yeah.
Then don't eat the bread.
It's ridiculous, and I guess because it's so cheap in comparison to actual alcohol. Anyway.
Yeah, well, methanol, right? It converts into formaldehyde in your body. So you're basically embalming yourself before you're dead. Yeah,
it's a nasty thing. Anyway, that's a little bit of South African culture for you.
Interesting.
So we have to talk about this. Now, Shanghai, you've probably seen, if you're keeping track of what's going on, everyone's celebrating that Shanghai is open again, but it's not. It's a lie. It's not open at all. First of all, I've been seeing a lot of articles saying, this restaurant, for the first time, has opened its doors once again. Wrong. They haven't opened their doors. A lot of restaurants have opened, but only for takeaway only.
Oh, I wish we had that clip of that dude freaking out.
Which one?
Remember that one? We saw it in a Lila Farley video.
Oh,
the
that
guy's
guy.
walking up to all these people that are celebrating in the streets with like
Yeah.
communist stuff, and they're like, "We're back open." He's like, "What are you guys doing? We're not open."
No,
And everyone's like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, it's still very strict.
Yeah.
A lot of our friends that are in Shanghai still don't leave their apartments,
Yeah, that's
even
right.
if they've been given the option, because right now you have to, if you go out, you have to go get these nucleic acid tests, okay? And you have
Right.
to stand in these lines. We're going to show the lines in a minute, but the annoying thing that's happening now is if you look there, it says from the Shanghai Daily, starting from June 1st, Shanghai will lower the price for nucleic acid testing at public medical
that's COVID
institutions.
testing
Yeah.
for everyone.
From 25 to 16 yuan. Okay? But don't worry, they'll remain free until June 30. Okay.
I was worried.
So okay, here's where it's a problem. Look, 16 RMB, how much is that in dollars? It's not much.
It's about 250.
Yeah, okay. But in China 16 yuan can buy you a meal.
Yeah,
Okay?
for sure, a cheap meal.
It'll buy you a nice coffee.
Yeah.
It'll buy you something. But
If you're in a
here's
city with coffee.
yeah, but here's the thing, right? The government is forcing people to take these tests now, these 72-hour tests. If you don't take them, you won't be allowed to go into public places. You won't be allowed out on the streets. You have to keep your testing record up to date. It's a forced thing. But
is.
now you're being forced to pay for something the government is forcing you to do. Do you see the problem with this?
Yes, correct.
So now there's no escaping it. The government's like, okay, everybody needs to get tested if you want to do anything. But you're going to have to pay for it out of your own pocket, which is kind of ridiculous, especially since the lower income people in China earn so little
Yeah.
that this 16 RMB would be a massive hit.
It's big because if you think about it, if you're pulling in like 500 RMB per month, 16 each time,
Yeah.
it'll bankrupt you.
No shit, and especially since you need to get it every 72 hours.
Yeah.
That's something you don't take into
Yeah.
account.
Every other day, every 3
Yeah,
days, whatever.
so basically every 3 days you're out there getting another test. Now, that's not even the worst part, is it's been a disaster.
Right.
The lines are ridiculous. You have to stand in line for 2-3 hours at a time. It's absolutely ridiculous just to get tested. So it's a big mess up. We'll show you. We got some lines later, but this is another funny thing. Maybe you can explain what's going on here.
No, I mean, I like anime, but I'm not familiar with this one. Apparently, it's very popular. It's called Spy X Family or something.
I've never heard of it.
Neither have I, but it's very popular. I Googled it.
Right.
I guess on Netflix or something. Anyway, the problem is the reason we're bringing this up is that China, when they do allow certain things into their market, which is rare, by the way, but when something's too popular and they realize, okay, we're going to have to deal with this, what they'll do is they'll find ways to censor it to their liking.
Sure.
And one thing that's always taboo is skeletons, ghosts, dead people, and blood. They just can't do this, which is weird because if you think about it, if they show their fantasy war dramas about how one communist soldier defeated 50 Japanese people, there's lots of blood. There's
Tons.
flaying people alive.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But if it's from a different country, especially America or Japan, in this case Japan, if there's blood involved, then they think it's horrible, right?
Yeah.
So in their infinite wisdom, what happens is China will take the color of something, in this case the blood, and then change it to something innocuous, what they think.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, in this case, they are just, the censorship board, you can imagine what kind of people are hired there.
Yeah.
It's like the most out of touch, lost generation, absolute idiots that have nepotism made them rise to the ranks of the CCP.
Sure.
And they're in control of this. And look what they end up doing. I don't think I have to say anything.
No, I don't think you do. But if you change the splatters of red blood on her face to white splatters all over her face, those of you at home could picture it in your mind. It's I guess a cute-looking girl with some blood splatter on her face gets changed to white
I guess
blotches.
she's the mother in the show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You can guess what it looks like, and that was a very poor choice of censoring.
I mean, just let it be blood.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
don't air it.
Anyway, something creative that's come out of all these tests, because other than the fact that you have to get officially tested every day in Shanghai, at least up until now where they got the 72-hour tests, people have had to take home tests as well.
Oh, this is an antigen test. Yeah,
Yeah, this is a home test.
Antigen test.
Yeah.
Yeah, to see if you have the antigens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you take these home tests before you go down for your PCR test. It's been this ridiculous thing where you have to take a home test every day, upload it to your Bao or whatever it is.
This
to
is to
keep
see
track.
if you have been infected at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And then if that's clear, then you can go down for your real test. It's been a mess. So this particular individual took all of his tests, his used up tests, because they come in like a little plastic tray looking thing. And look what he managed to make out of it.
Freaking amazing.
It's great. Take a look. Like
Leveling
a
up.
fully functioning toy shotgun.
out of antigen tests. Tell me that's not
That's
badass.
freaking awesome. Like, that's what happens. That's ingenuity right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have to say, Chinese people are very good at pragmatism and ingenuity.
Yeah,
just in
exactly.
general, great
Yeah.
at like
Yeah.
making stuff.
Just making stuff. You give them, they can make it. You know, won't invent anything new.
Well,
Okay?
that's not, and again, that's completely
Yeah.
government stifling.
Yeah, the government
creativity.
stifling. I'm talking about like in
Sure.
those, but absolutely capable of doing many great things.
Yeah.
And like that is a great thing. I think taking antigen tests, turning them into a functioning shotgun,
That's
is incredible.
pretty impressive.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, here we've got another little thing, which is...
This is a report from Jilin. So this is north. We have a lot to do with Jilin, by the way.
Yeah.
And just, we seem to always be reporting on Jilin.
Well, Jilin's
We spent a lot of time there.
still locked down, isn't it?
It's a huge lockdown place.
I mean,
that
like the
nobody
whole
talks
province,
about.
the whole province
Yeah,
is locked
Jilin
down.
province, yeah.
The whole province. It's like if you took one state in America.
It is. It's like if you took Jilin, a good equivalent would be like if you took Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and you just
Or New
like
York.
locked it down.
Yeah.
Just say like, okay, that entire place, no one's allowed in or out.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Other than the fact that you got this brain dead.
I just put that next to it.
Yeah, I know. Testing rocks.
They're literally testing. If you're listening, there is a dabai, which is like a big
Stormtrooper.
stormtrooper, like one of those hazmat suit wearing
Sure.
people in China, and they're COVID testing walls.
Yes.
And the worst part about this is that there are people there to film it.
Yes.
Like so, it's not.
Well, it's like rocks in a quarry. That's what
yeah.
they're
Okay.
testing.
Sorry.
Like,
It's-
it's like-
I'm sorry. It's rocks in a quarry. I'm picturing them using them to make something like a building potentially. But anyway, on the left, this is what's important.
Yeah, this is what we really want to show you.
So basically, what's going on is if you miss your PCR test, so your test for nucleic acid, what do you say? COVID test.
Yeah,
miss your COVID
you
test.
get called downstairs. You have to take a test.
Yeah, imagine you line up in the street for hours and you're like, okay, this person missed 2 days in a row for whatever reason. They slept in, too lazy, whatever, right? What happens is you'll actually get a 500 RMB fine. Now, that doesn't sound that bad. I mean, that's only like $80, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what accompanies the $80 fine is 10 days imprisonment, right?
Yeah.
And we don't know if that's in a jail cell. And it's
a
implied
quarantine
that it's a
camp.
jail cell, but it could be in a quarantine camp as well.
Yeah.
So you get locked up for 10 days and then an $80 fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, and this is also in Jilin, right? I'm just translating this here on the fly. Blah, 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 blah. If you if you miss the PCR test twice in a row as well, you'll be on a social credit system list.
Yeah.
Now it's not listed as that. It's like basically an immoral person.
Yeah, you'll be
list.
immoral, and your details will be published. So you'll be publicly shamed.
Yes. So you publicly shamed on a public list if you do it. So you're basically like, a piece of shit that everyone's be like, ooh,
Yeah.
can't believe they would harm our. Because the thing is, they're labeling these kind of people as domestic terrorists, by the way.
Yeah.
Because you're harming and endangering everyone in public. The problem is, we got footage from people in lockdown. Back to Shanghai.
Yeah, we'll go back to Shanghai. I just once again want to say that I'm amazed that rocks now have lungs in China.
Yes.
Again, this is not the correct way to test things. If this form of testing was effective, right? Like rubbing your little swab on a inanimate object, why can't they just do that with people? Why can't they just like, all right, let me just rub it on your hand or something?
Because they have claimed COVID comes from literally a billion different things.
I know, but
There's
it's
no
just,
consistency.
it's so dumb. It's just
It
like,
is.
we're just going to do things to say we did it so that our boss just kind of leaves us alone.
Now you know. It's
You
just
know?
quotas.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. We tested all the rocks. They're safe.
Yeah.
It's like, what else can we test? How about all those leaves on that tree? One by one, you know?
Before
It's
they
just-
staple them on.
Yes, after stapling them on, yeah. Anyway, it's just the absurdity of testing freaking rocks in a quarry that have been like cut out and, you know.
We have leaf staple as a soundbite.
I think we need
It's
it.
like a 2-second one.
So anyway, back to Shanghai. Remember these 72-hour tests that people can get now. So if you want to go out there and you want to go and get your shopping or whatever, do your things, go and walk on the street a little bit, you need to have this test done, right?
Yeah.
But in order to get that test done, look what you have to do. This is actually actual footage that's been sent to us from Shanghai.
Yeah. This is from someone, actually.
Yeah. Again, it's like a mad rush. And
Yeah, so again, like... no, go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say, look how everybody's so tightly packed together. Cheek to jowl,
Yeah,
they
that's what I
are
was gonna say.
bumping into each other, they are pushing, they're shoving, they're breathing on each other, they're all physical contact with each other, which freaking negates the entire purpose of everybody being locked down and quarantined in the first place. Doesn't it? And this has to happen every 72 hours? You know?
Fail.
Stupidness.
That's a massive L on the government. Sorry, guys.
Seriously. You're posting your L's in public here. You know? Look at this crap. I mean, anyone with common sense would realize that this is the wrong way to do things.
No, it's a massive failure. And it's crazy how publicly acknowledged this is now. A lot of people in China are talking about, like, this is potentially like what's going to lead to not regime change, but change within the regime, because it's been such a failure.
It's huge.
But it's being shuffled around in that, it's not Xi Jinping's fault. Oh, it's not this person's fault.
Of course. It can never be anyone's fault except someone it's not their fault.
Correct. That's,
you know what I mean?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why this leadership doesn't work.
So, like I was saying, there are friends of mine that are currently in Shanghai who refuse to go out of their apartments because that means they have to partake in these ridiculous lines where you get crushed by...
For hours.
Yeah, and you have to stand for hours and hours. There are propagandists going out there saying, it's so quick and easy, you just need to do... It's all bullshit. Yeah. It's been very badly implemented.
Someone sent this out of their window.
Yeah, it's been very poorly implemented, okay?
Yeah.
It's been not equally distributed around the city, so these testing booths that people go to aren't all over the place.
Hold on, can you pause it?
Sure.
Just cut. I don't know if it shows his house in there, so I didn't cut. I didn't clip that part.
Oh, you didn't clip the part. Yeah, I'll change the scene. Give me a second. We just got to make sure we're not throwing anyone under the bus here before we move. Yeah, no, it's I'll go directly to the next clip over here.
Okay, cool. I didn't check the end of it, so.
Yeah. Okay, I'll bring it back. Bringing it back. Let's get past that inside of his house shot. Okay, we're good. Here's another one. Okay. Anyway, like I was saying, they refuse to participate in this because you have to go stand in these queues for hours, okay, to get the stupid test. You're again exposing yourself to potential infection because there's so many people crowded together.
Sure.
It's just a huge mess up all around. It's just absolutely awful.
Right.
So when people say Shanghai has opened up, it's a lie. It's people are kind of allowed out on probation, if that makes sense. They're allowed to walk around a little bit and must always have their... Look how long this queue is, okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to stand in that queue for however many hours just to have the right to perhaps go into a shop, even if one is open or not?
Maybe not.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that, we're kind of getting close to our main topic here, which we'll get into the main topic in a minute. But first, a little bit of a win. We reported on this a long time ago when it first happened. But in order to appease the Chinese censors, you can see here, in the original release trailer of the new Top Gun movie, Maverick, which I definitely want to go watch, by the way. I'm a big fan of the original.
Yeah.
It's incredibly cheesy and stuff, but I love it.
In a great way.
Yeah, it's amazing. Love the original. They showed the patches on the back of Maverick's jacket and they changed them to gobbledygook. Yes. They got rid of the Japanese flag and they got rid of the Taiwanese flag and replaced them with a triangle and a circle.
Yeah,
whatever that was. And this is obviously to appease the Chinese censors because, believe it or not, even showing the flag of Taiwan in any kind of media in China is a no-no.
Yes.
And,
correct.
of course, China hates Japan, so may as well get rid of the Japanese flag too, just for good measure. And this was, of course, not very well received by most people.
No.
But it looked like they were going to go ahead. But remember, this trailer was released just prior to COVID hitting.
Yes.
And prior to a lot of attitudes changing.
Right.
And so I think somewhere along the way, Hollywood decided, hey, you know what? It's probably a good idea for us to not piss off our actual audience, our original audience, just so that we can please the censors of China.
That's right.
Especially since it's historical. And I'm not talking about historical as in Top Gun is a historical document, okay? Top Gun is whatever, okay? Yeah. A bunch of bullshit, but it's fun. The thing is, those patches are historical. That's actually real based on the tour, like a tour that was done by the whatever aircraft carrier at the time, okay? So it's real. Why you got to change history like that just to appease the Chinese censors? I know they love changing history. They like to say the Tiananmen Square massacre didn't happen. You know, they like to pretend like they never invaded Vietnam. They like to pretend that they've never done anything bad. that they didn't kill all their own people through starvation and stuff. I'm talking about the Chinese government here. They like to change that stuff, but you can't change this. Don't make America change its own history. You know, that's not okay.
So show them what it is now.
Yeah, well, it's come back. I wonder how much it cost them to go and post-production change everything back to the way it should have been using computer graphics.
Well, the people that, ordered that change, I'll tell you what, they probably don't give a shit. It's a bunch of grunts in a CG lab. But anyway, actually, I interviewed a Hollywood exec about this named Chris Fenton. He was actually partly responsible for getting Chinese movies or American movies into China, and now has changed, his path. Yeah, basically, has been commenting a lot on this, and his quote is, "Hollywood, there's a shift in Hollywood, right? The market is simply not worth the aggravation anymore in attempting to please Chinese censors," which is huge. Yes. If we're in this new era potentially where we're not going to be self-censoring for the Chinese market, which is great.
It's amazing. It's not worth the aggravation. No. Why piss off your original base audience, i.e. the rest of the world? Yeah. Other than China, why piss them off just to appease some stupid little insecure government that doesn't want the Taiwanese flag in the video? I could understand if Tom Cruise in Top Gun was like, you know what, China's the enemy, let's go bomb them or something. Yeah, that's not cool. Change that. Don't make it like something that's really obnoxious towards China. But to have a frickin' patch on your jacket that was in the original film and is a historically accurate patch removed just to please China is a stupid idea. Yeah. Anyway, again, it's proven once again that you don't have to appease China to do well in the box office because the new Maverick film is killing it. It's like the #1 movie.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
Don't need the Chinese market.
No, just like that Spider-Man Back Home. You know what? This is the thing. I honestly feel if you make a good product, people can buy it, right? So if China wants to watch good movies in China, if the Chinese public want to watch good movies and there's a demand for good movies, they will go to Hollywood and say, yeah, we'll take your movie. It shouldn't be the other way around. You shouldn't be, oh my God, we got to do everything to make them like us so that they let us, sell us something. No, stop that, okay? You make good stuff, people will buy it.
Well, I mean, China won't. The Chinese censors decide for the people.
Of course.
The public has nothing to do with it.
What I'm saying is don't destroy your good quality product just to appease a certain market.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like if China decided, let's take something like Coca-Cola, right? Yeah. China comes along and says, we don't like sugar because sugar represents the opium wars, okay? Because when the British sold opium, they used to drink tea and they added sugar to that tea. So it's got sugar in it, you change it. And Coca-Cola doesn't just change its recipe for China, it changes it for the whole world. Take sugar out. Coke would taste like shit if there was no sugar in it. Hollywood movies are shit when you remove anything edgy from them. Anything that might upset China, which, like you said, there's so many things. There we go. Speaking of Coke, it's great product placement right there.
It doesn't have sugar in it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's diet, okay? And everybody knows that's different. Anyway, I'm just getting on I'm getting on a tangent here. What I'm trying to say is stop ruining the original product.
Yes, I agree.
So it's fantastic that Top Gun has reverted back to its original. It's restored a little bit of faith.
Yes, big time.
And it's done very well.
And we have Hollywood execs talking about how this is the big change.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a new era.
Hollywood, great. Maybe we'll start to see something other than your Marvel Avenger reboot stuff, and we'll see something cool.
Yes.
Going forward.
We are not sponsored by Coke, by the way. Do not even make a joke out of that.
No.
Oh my God.
No. Anyway, all that aside, I just wanted to say I'm very happy to see it going in this direction. And you know what?
Yeah.
The people in China, by the way, the response to this has been, I read some of the comments the Chinese people have been saying. Of course, you've got the one camp that are like, screw you, we're not going to buy your movie, we're going to pirate it. Guess what? They would have done that anyway. Those people that are saying that, they would have done it because the piracy thing in China is huge. Okay? So there's a bunch of people like, Tom Cruise, you're no longer welcome in China. Screw you, we're not going to support you. We're going to pirate your movies on purpose. So it means they're still going to watch it, see? Even if it's got a Taiwanese flag, they still want to watch it.
Doesn't matter.
Okay? But then you've also got another group of more reasonable, level-headed Chinese people saying, what's wrong with it? It's historical. You know, why do you want to change that?
The great thing about this is when Hollywood doesn't capitulate, and then they don't get the movie that's being hyped for so long because it was initially probably going to enter the Chinese market.
Yeah.
What you get is a bunch of people that are saying, wait, so what was actually wrong? Then looking into it going, what's wrong with our government?
Yeah.
Like, why? Are you kidding me? It's such a petty reason.
You know how soft power really works? Is when your government bans something and you get a hold of it. Why do you think the Berlin Wall fell?
Soviet
It's
Union,
literally
Western
Knight
Europe.
Rider.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
David Hasselhoff riding around in an 82 Trans Am is why it fell. Because all the shit's banned. So people start passing it around. People start to fall in love with the idea of the West and talking cars and stuff because all they have is a Trabant or whatever it is. You know what I mean? They're like, why can't we? You know what I'm trying to say here? Is that you ban it in China, people will watch it anyway. They will. When it comes to bootlegging and finding ways around things, Chinese people are fantastic at doing that. Like, second to none. All right? Definitely when it comes to this kind of thing. So they're going to see it anyway. So if you make a movie based around Western values and it's blocked, people will watch it anyway, and then they will get those Western values. Or they will see those Western values at least, and then they'll be able to say, like, why is this different to the way, you know, things are here?
That's soft power.
That's soft power, and that's how it works well. So,
Speaking of which,
yeah, it's time for Soft Power Hour, where we talk about how China's trying to change your mind, you know, through various means.
but first, a couple super chats.
You want to do a couple super chats?
Of course.
All right, you can.
I can.
No, you can't. Go for it. No, I'm just joking. Of course, we can.
Dylan, friend of the channel, says, unfortunately, I'm down with a she variant this week, gents.
Oh, that
so
sucks.
I'm sorry, Dylan. So we'll be watching later. Has Winston learned to hit Control and V together? That is a whole spiel.
It's fucking funny, yeah.
Charles Womack, 我爱中国，我们也爱中国. We also love China.
Absolutely.
David Lopan.
People got to realize that we're not against China. We're against the Communist Party of China and how it's ruining China and screwing up the rest of the world.
Bring back good China, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever seen the movie Waking Life? I have not. Jim Flagg, Alexiu Andre wants to know. I'm just curious what Winston and Matt think about the wuxia novels. I don't have money to donate, so hopefully they see this and answer. I have to say, Jim Flagg, that's very nice of you to sponsor someone's comment. That's really nice of you,
It's
Jim.
super nice of you, yeah.
And I'm not personally into wuxia at all. I don't care about martial arts or kung fu or any of that kind of stuff. I love Chinese culture and history, but it's not an element I care about.
I do like martial arts to a certain degree. And I'm talking about like the old Jackie Chan stuff, and Bruce Lee, and you know, I like and appreciate that. I also happen to personally own a black belt in karate. You know, there's a story behind that.
Sure.
I earned it, but you know, I didn't go do the classes or anything.
Right.
But I earned it. I have a black belt. I have a karate. I can say it like this. I have a karate black belt.
Right.
And I do. It's in my closet.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, so I have a karate black belt. And I do like martial arts. When it comes to the Chinese, that kind of fly through the air with the ruffling, you know, the sword. Yeah, I mean, he's here or there.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type stuff. Yeah, that's what the wuxia stuff is.
I'm more into more modern Chinese history, if that makes sense. A. Watson, in remembrance of June 4th, 1989.
Yes. Correct. All right. So I have to introduce all of you guys to something very special. It's very dear to the hearts of most Canadians, from what I've gathered during my research. Allow me to introduce you to this beautiful...
I hand over the torch to you.
Okay,
You're the plane
this
boy.
beautiful machine. It is called the Aurora. Ching. There it is. Isn't that? It's like the pride of Canada. I'm serious, though. Like, it's
Why?
really... I don't know, but like ask any Canadian, they all know.
I'm going to just shut up.
Ask any Canadian, and they're like, you know, Aurora stands for the goddess of the dawn. Okay, goddess of dawn, because you know it is. It's in Greek mythology or whatever. It's the goddess of dawn.
Looks like a great plane.
Yeah, look at this thing, isn't it? You know, beautiful. Anyway, Canadians love this thing. Okay.
Someone said, "I'm Canadian. What the fuck is this?"
Look at his high tech.
Anyway,
his high tech equipment.
What is that?
By the way, this footage is from 2007. So I'm just saying. Okay.
What was that? Fallout?
It's incredibly high tech, and what it is it's a plane. Okay. Yeah. All right, we got that part, but it's actually a very specialized plane. Okay. It's meant to be sent out on very long missions to fly around in the sea.
Okay. Wait.
Well, above the sea.
Okay.
Above the sea. And it's got lots of sensors in it, right? And it's there to detect submarines and to detect... look at that. That equipment is amazing.
Is that footage from the 60s?
No, it may as well be. But believe it or not, this plane was put into service in 1981.
Weird. That's some ancient stuff.
Anyway, it's good.
I mean, not 81. The stuff inside looks ancient.
Yeah, it is. And it is ancient.
Okay.
Because you know how the military works. They don't update that shit. Anyway, fact of the matter, it detects boats. It detects submarines. It can detect magnetic anomalies. It's got that weird dildo-looking thing on the back of the plane. That's a magnetic anomaly detector. So if there's a piece of metal in the water, it'll tell them.
I'm just looking at the chat. Like,
What?
is this a one-time use plane? And then all these Canadians are getting mad because they don't like it.
Canadians love this shit. It's like the pride of the Canadian military.
They were trolling, by the way. Take a little ribbon. But it's a key feature to the story.
Yeah, and it is. In fact, it is pretty much very well loved by all Canadians.
Stop saying that.
At least Canadians that are tied to the military.
Okay.
I'd say. So anyway, it's a reconnaissance aircraft. It can also deploy torpedoes in a pinch.
Nice.
And life craft. Like it can drop a life.
Cool.
Yeah, it can do a couple things like that.
The chat is wild right now.
Okay, but anyway, so the Aurora, in all its beauty, okay, as we
I
can
love
see,
they have the Canada, like the official government logo on there.
it says Canada
like
on the side.
The tourism board too.
It actually says Canada on the side. It's got a little maple leaf flag too.
What's that shit on the back?
That's the anomaly.
Oh, that's
the magnetic anomaly detector.
That's good. That's good. Very useful.
It's got a bunch of sensors. They recently upgraded them to have cameras. You can see the camera here. The same. No, seriously, like kind of recent. That's a recent upgrade. That was like in 2005 or 6. They put the same cameras that you have on a police helicopter in there.
Is this a museum?
Well, I mean, my favorite part about this is, for those of you who know anything about electronics, is that they currently, the most high-tech piece of equipment they have in here. Wait, I'm going to pause it. Can you see it down there?
What is that?
Can you see that little box thing? It looks like a CB radio. It is. It's a standalone GPS, which has not yet been integrated into the computer system yet. It's forthcoming.
Why is everything so proud?
Look, it's got a dot matrix printer up there.
Oh my gosh.
Lovely CRT monitor.
Sorry, guys. Don't
green.
get mad at me, guys.
Yeah.
This is outlandish to me.
I mean, it does look really, really.
This is not a museum.
No, it's not. It's fully functional aircraft. That is a
put
phone.
This together, by the way.
What he's pointing out there is the most high-tech piece of equipment on the entire plane, which is a satellite phone. Okay, and that means they can keep in contact with people. All right, it's fantastic. I just thought
North 2642.
Well, they've got that GPS. They can actually look at the longitude and latitude now, which they couldn't do in the past. I guess they used one of those sextants, or something. Anyway,
hold on. I gotta read a super chat that I think shows how awesome Canadians are. Actually, Mark Carl, and again, I mean no disrespect, but this footage is ancient. He says, "I'm Canadian. We don't invest in much in military. We have Big Brother that will help us if anyone believes
That's true.
us." Yeah.
No, but
We're great allies.
This is recent footage. This footage was taken in 2007. Now, this, on the other hand, is not a 1950s dystopian electronic package. What I'm showing you now
you definitely put this together.
Yeah. Okay. What I'm showing you now is a typical AWACS
it's an
plane.
American one for NATO.
Yeah, it's a NATO plane. They actually use color monitors in there. I don't know if you can notice, but that's one of the key features is they've upgraded it to color flat panels. And for those of you who don't know,
actually looks real, like good.
Yeah, it looks like an office cubicle area actually, but that's massive amounts of monitoring. It can monitor like a huge area. That's what it looks like. You've seen them with a pancake on top. Anyway, let's get back to the Aurora, because this beautiful machine. The reason why I'm talking about this gorgeous... By the way, it uses 4 propellers. It's got...
By the way,
engines.
slight echo, the CRTs are aesthetic. I agree with you.
Yeah, they are. They are. Anyway, the reason why I'm talking about this is that these have been deployed out of Japan. Okay, the Royal Canadian Air Force.
Yeah, good stuff.
Which, I don't know if it's... Well, I guess with Trudeau, you could say Her Majesty's Royal Canadian Air Force.
Why?
Well, look at him. Anyway, let's continue.
What?
So, anyway, Her Majesty's...
missing the joke.
No, anyway, the Royal Canadian Mounted Air Force thing, okay?
You're saying he looks like a woman?
Maybe.
know,
No,
like
he's the
Swiss
one who
hair.
said, like, a she session or something.
Oh,
You know,
I get
he's
it.
all-
This is a deep lore joke.
It's all kind of weird.
Okay.
Anyway, they are currently helping monitor North Korea. Okay.
Yes.
So let's get back. I'm just going to go back
Can
a
I
little
explain
bit.
why?
Yes, please.
Okay, so North Korea hit with sanctions, Western
Yeah.
sanctions, right? So Canada helps. Canada does great stuff, by the way.
Yes.
In their monitoring runs and making sure that the shipping patterns have been cut off, right?
Mm.
So anybody sneaking stuff in and out, if North Korea is breaking sanctions and breaking international law,
Mm-hmm.
so Canada is actually using those very ancient planes, or whatever, to do real good stuff.
Well, that's the thing. That's where. Okay, never mind the AWACS, which is modern. This has a very specific purpose. Like I said, it's very good for anti-submarine and anti-ship monitoring.
Yeah.
And of course, while during my research on this plane, I found out that it does something very Canadian too.
What?
It goes out there and it makes sure people aren't polluting,
That's good.
which is great.
We're kind of eco boys. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
I
We
mean-
get a little bit of flack from a certain part of our audience. For that,
Exactly.
but yeah, we love the environment.
Anyway, so the fact of the matter is, you've got these auroras out there doing their thing, which is flying around, near Japan, monitoring the seas around North Korea to make sure that there aren't any ships going in and out that shouldn't be doing
As I
that.
said,
Like you said, right? That's their terse, that's their specialty. So they of course they deployed their auroras out there, and they're proud of them, right?
That's
This
fine.
is the
I just was shocked at the tech inside.
the pride of our Canadian military, right over here. Boom. Anyway, and they do a fantastic job for what they do.
Good.
But here's the thing: this is what we're actually working up to here. Is that you've got these big, kind of lumbering
Surveillance planes.
surveillance planes, yeah. Even though in my research they were saying how quick it can get in and out of areas, I doubt
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's slow. I mean, it was quoted in the report I was looking at this was unfair what China did because of how slow they are.
Well, of course, because what China's been doing is sending fighter jets to buzz these things.
Why? But okay, wait. They're buzzing them on their North Korea route.
Yes.
But China signed on to the pact that said that they have to cut off transport
Well-
and shipments in North Korea.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is the routes they're flying are international airspace as
Yeah.
well. They're not encroaching on North Korean
No.
airspace. They're not encroaching on
It doesn't
Chinese
matter.
airspace.
China agreed that people
Yeah.
could surveil that. So what are they doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Here we have a little artist's rendition over here, which you can see behind us. I'll get us out of here. This actually came from Global News, for those of you who want to know where this rendition came from.
Canadian news outlet.
Yeah. It's Canadian, but why is it global? Shouldn't it be Canadian news or something?
We
Anyway,
can talk about the globe too.
true. That's very
Pretty
true.
multi,
Yeah. So anyway, what you can see over here behind us is the jets are flying incredibly close and buzzing these auroras, okay?
which is worse than intercepting.
So, yeah, I mean, first of all, they are on an intercept course,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of buzz past. Now, they're getting so close that the pilots inside of the auroras, the crew, can feel the turbulence,
Wow.
okay?
Yeah.
Now, first of all, this is very, very no-no when it comes to the international airspace kind of rules, the agreed-upon rules, okay? You
Yeah.
don't do this.
Yeah.
It's incredibly dangerous
Yeah.
to do something like this. First of all, it's intimidation. Okay, it's unprofessional, and it's just a disgusting thing to do. You don't do that. You don't do that to allies. You don't do that to enemies. You could spark off a war doing stuff like
Yes.
this. Okay. Now, the reason why the Canadian Air Force is so upset about this is because of how dangerous it is. Obviously, right?
Yeah, of
you
course.
Don't, it's harassment.
Yeah.
You don't go and harass when you're doing something that has been internationally agreed upon,
And-
including
and
by
by
China. Yeah. You don't expect to be harassed.
No.
Because they are doing your patrols, just checking out for submarines and crap, and suddenly you've got fighter jets buzzing you. It's threatening, it's intimidation, and it's incredibly dangerous. You know how dangerous it is? China experiences a huge amounts of training accidents and just crashes of their fighter jets all the time. Here we can actually see behind us, this was from a couple of months ago, last year, maybe?
October last year.
I think it's a
It's less than a year old.
J20, I believe.
Yeah.
Just crashed in the river, got caught on camera. Of course, the poor fisherman who shared this out got into a lot of trouble. But
actually, can I mention something? I lived near one of the biggest air bases in China, and when they would have training crashes all the time in their J-20s and other planes as well, and they would never be reported, but the people would talk about it. You hear it at a restaurant or something, and then they would never be able to post about it or do anything about it because it's illegal to post, hey, we had an accident. Or to even really just like put it in groups and stuff like that to share footage.
Right.
So yeah, they get in trouble.
So now if you take a look, this is 2019, so this is what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
If you keep an eye out kind of up near the buildings, if you see kind of just to the left of the buildings there, oh, I guess there you can see a little accident.
By the way, no one died YouTube. No one died YouTube. I mean, we're not joking.
Yeah.
Ejected.
Yeah.
So.
There's another training accident. Here's another one. Can you hear the people talking about it?
You don't need to hear what they're saying. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Here's another one. Yeah. Yeah. Shoo.
IE dialogue there about how it crashed.
Yeah. Here's another. Look, the thing is, if you look it up, this was in Rongcheng. Actually, we were there.
Oh yeah.
Not during the crash, of course. That's I think it was the Russian copy. Oh, now this one's kind of important because this was a couple of months ago. Actually, not even a couple of. It was like a month ago that this happened.
Yeah,
I'm going to show you.
It was end of April 30th, I believe.
This is very important. Okay, I'd like you guys to all watch this. This happened in Henan, right?
Yeah, this is important.
Yeah, this one's.
I'm surprised we hadn't reported on it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is they believe a Hongdu JL-10 or an L-15.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's take a look here. What happened?
It's a trainer.
Yeah. It's China's most advanced trainer.
Yes. So some people ejected.
Yes. Yeah, so they find the pilots, right? Here's the important part. Okay, you got 2 pilots that ejected. On the left here, we see there's the Chinese pilot. And on the right there, strangely enough, is a foreigner. Okay?
And this is in Henan. This is central China. This is not near the Russian border.
Yeah, central China. If you listen carefully to him, he actually says, let's see, listen.
Don't do that.
Says, don't do that, because he doesn't want people to film. But he's saying it in a very thick accent.
Yes.
Now, this has been analyzed by quite a few different, U.S., obviously the U.S. military or intelligence probably took a bit of an interest in this. A lot of people have analyzed this and have come to the conclusion that it's a Russian instructor. So it turns out, although the PLAAF, the PLAF...
That's PLAAF.
Yeah, exactly. The People's Liberation Air Force.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So the PLAF, all right, have been always going on about how they're self-sufficient and they don't need any external training and whatnot. But it turns out that for like over a year, it's on record that they've been receiving instruction from Russia on how to...
ginger Slavs.
Yeah, that's correct. And on how to land on a aircraft carrier and things like that. Things, obviously skills they don't have. So this is from all accounts, from all experts' opinions, is a Russian instructor.
对，外方这个我主要可能找那个外方侦查。目前我们跟地方老百姓正在沟通。你是中国人民解放军吗？这个是谁？我们赵冉。哦，中国人，哎，中国军人。哎，那个我们正美跟人说话，稍等。哦，我们正美。哎，你好。我们正美。哦，你好，同志。不要拍照，不要拍照。
So anyway, he's like, don't film. And he's also like, the guy asked, who is this guy? And he's like, that's my instructor. And then he shouted, oh, there's Chinese here.
Because he heard him speaking Chinese.
Yeah. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, this happened during the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Okay, this is like a month ago, around about a month ago. So remember how China's always like, we don't take sides and what they got Russian pilots instructing the People's Liberation Army Air Force at the same time that they're invading.
Now, the devil's advocate thing would be we spent a lot of time, especially me when I lived up there, but me and you spent a lot of time up near the Russian border in China.
Yeah.
And what we did notice that there's a lot of military installations on the border, especially in Mohe.
Yes.
which is the northernmost point of China. We went up there. There's a lot of guard posts, outposts, surveillance posts, all kinds of stuff. And it's almost like there's collaborative efforts all the time. Like, for example, there's this one town called Manzhouli.
Yeah.
They even hire white Russian women, police officers,
Yeah.
to go be police officers in the street in the city. So there's a lot of cooperation.
Sure.
Right? It's military cooperation, but it's mostly border related and then cross-cultural related.
Yeah.
So it kind of stops there. If this was up in Mohe or something like this, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But this was in deep central China.
Yeah.
Deep central China. So it's very strange. It's definitely a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the reason we're showing all these crashes, by the way, and collaborations between Russia and China here is to tell you that these concerns by the Canadian Air Force in their beautiful Auroras, those concerns are legitimate.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, they
you
are.
can tell that there's a lack of training with all these accidents all
Because
the
they're
time.
plaffing around.
Yeah, plaffing around. Plaff. Yeah. Plaff, eh? Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when they're buzzing these planes, a small margin of error could mean a
Yeah.
mid-air collision.
Yeah.
Not only that, they could knock them off course or whatever the case because of the turbulence. All sorts of crap could go on. Also, if the Auroras try to do some kind of evasive maneuver, it might cause the pilots to do something wrong and have
dangerous.
it's super dangerous. It's
Immature.
just
What was
it's-
this about the middle finger thing?
apparently they fly so close that they can see the pilots, the Chinese pilots, and sometimes they're flipping them the bird. Seriously,
What is
I
this,
feel
Top
like
Gun?
exactly. I feel
Top
like
Gun in real life.
I feel like they all watched the original Top Gun and they think that's how things happen. They want to buzz something, but
Yeah, buzz the enemy.
here's the thing: why buzz the Canadian Auroras? Why? Why?
They're
why?
laughing around.
Why do it? I mean, why film it? No, I'm just serious. It's like, why do it? It doesn't make sense. Like, you could understand if it was like a Taiwanese something and they wanted
If it's
to.
an enemy plane, like a Taiwanese
Yeah.
plane would be an enemy. That's your enemy, right?
Yeah. But why are you buzzing a Canadian?
Doing international agreed upon exercises
Yes, that you agreed to.
you signed off on.
Anyway, of course, Canada has, through diplomatic channels, has reached out to China. By the way, there have been about 60 of these incidences. 60 since Christmas.
What was Trudeau's quote? It was pretty good, actually.
Did he have a quote? I don't remember.
I'll look it up later.
She session?
No. About this.
Okay, that's still his most dumb quote that I can think of.
No, talk while you.
Okay, anyway, 60 of these things since Christmas, right? Last year. And at least half of those have been very dangerous. The other half were just like unprofessional and crap. But that's a lot. It's not like it happened once or twice, right? That's the whole point. And so this is a big story, and it needs to be talked about even more.
Yes.
So what did Trudeau say?
Oh no, he was the one that made the public accusation. It was Trudeau accuses China of extremely troubling harassment of Canadian jets, and they said he was going to raise the issue with Beijing. So they did, right? Mm-hmm. They did, right?
Yeah, but there was no reply.
This is for a month, by the way. Mm-hmm. For an entire month they were doing this. This wasn't a once-off,
Oh, sure.
right?
Between April and May.
He said, in these interactions, the PLAF aircraft did not adhere to international air safety norms. These interactions are unprofessional and or put the safety of our Royal Canadian Air Force personnel at risk. In some instances, the RCAF aircrew felt sufficiently at risk that they had to quickly modify their own flight path in order to increase separation and avoid potential collision with the intercepting aircraft.
Yeah.
That's when you get to the point where you're going to crash.
Well, think about it. You're flying there around in your Aurora, looking at your CRT that's making you blind and radiating you or whatever because it's just like ghosting around there. Okay. And the next minute you got warnings going off. There's an aircraft flying towards you at high speed. All right. And then at the last minute, they just, pass you. You don't know if they're going to actually ride into you, like fly directly kamikaze into you or something. You don't know.
They tend to do that in training.
Yeah, you don't know. So it's upsetting. It's stressful. It's bad. It's unprofessional. You
Yes.
don't do it. But the Chinese PLAF has been doing that to Canada. And, honestly, in most circumstances around the world, this kind of thing should be considered an act of war. Okay?
Yeah.
It really should. When you've got fighter aircraft putting other peaceful aircraft doing their job at risk, it's not okay.
It's not.
But for some reason, China always gets a free pass. So I hope this boils up into something a little better. And hopefully next time, instead of
rectify it.
sending up some Auroras, maybe they can send up something better like an F-22.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As an escort.
Yeah. To keep everyone safe, by the way, not to instigate anything.
No. Obviously, the F-22 doesn't have the long range or whatever. But, send something up there. I don't care. Anything. Just to, show them that, you know what, we mean business here.
Right.
You know?
Let us do what you allow us to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Anyway.
So just imagine, the American Air Force or Canadian Air Force was buzzing Chinese planes.
Can you imagine that?
They've got their, knockoff Antonov or whatever those things are called flying around. You got F-16s or something, and they're Saudi Mali, that kind of thing. It'd be funny.
But
it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't accept it.
No.
Anyway, very immature move on the part of the Chinese government.
Not good. Flipping middle fingers, buzzing people.
Yeah, just don't
and these poor Canadians with their 1950s monitors.
Yeah. I know.
They don't see it coming.
It's really, really bad.
Too much ghosting on the monitor. You can't even see them.
It's by the time that things come around, it's the sweep, the radar sweep,
They don't know how to hit them.
Yeah.
Poor guys.
Seriously though,
Jokes aside.
All jokes aside, it's disgusting. It's terrible what the Chinese military is doing, and let's hope there's some proper repercussions diplomatically.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our soft power hour. We got through it. Everybody now knows about this beautiful plane, the Aurora.
That was the main goal of the segment.
Dude, yeah, I had to sit through the guys who designed it.
I watched you.
And they were talking about their slideshows about how they came up with the name. And
I was so glad that you did that research for that part.
I really like planes a lot.
No, it's great. You're this expert.
But I gotta say though, that particular plane could do with a little bit of a refit.
The American equivalent, I was like, what happened to Canada?
Well, it might shock you to understand, to realize that is actually an American plane that's just been Canadianized.
No, yeah.
It's built off of I believe a Lockheed airframe.
All the wood.
No, anyway, whatever.
Yeah,
it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
It's the Bricklin of planes.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Jerry Huang, CCP Showbusters, is planning a live stream with me sometime after 15th of June. So I was wondering if you two are interested in joining. If you have time, we'll see if we're around.
Yeah, if we can. We will.
Count Bifford, why should we care if Huawei rips off Apple? Apple hardly pays any taxes. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. So that you're saying that they don't contribute, whatever, but they're still the lifeblood of a huge part of the technology sector of the U.S.
They also spend huge amounts of money on R&D.
Yeah.
They actually develop many things. Of course, Apple's guilty of copying a lot of stuff in the past, but they spend huge amounts of money on innovation. If that innovation is simply stolen and then they get undercut in their own market, why bother continuing to innovate? It's that simple. You want to be stuck with the equivalent of a MacBook Pro 2020 for the rest of your life because there's nothing new coming out?
No.
Then you encourage this kind of thing.
Yeah. So I think that's a bad take, but we appreciate your support.
Yeah.
R. Jones, why does the CCP issue exit bans? Doesn't it make more sense to prevent unwanted people from entering? What good is it to trap a political dissident in China? Because you can control them. Think about this. And by the way, that's a good question.
It is a good question.
If you allow someone out to go run rampant free in a country that has unfettered internet access and freedoms to protect that person, potentially protect them legally even, so they can say and do whatever they want. They can expose your dirty laundry. They can expose everything that you did to them, and now they're free to say so. Then, of course, you want to exit ban them. If you trap them in China, they can't do shit. They can't do anything.
Because you trap them in China, you can also then detain them, put them in a black site prison, whatever.
Right.
But also, they can pressure people's families abroad. So, for instance, if you've got somebody who has state secrets or just a dissident, goes overseas, starts to make a noise, all you do is put exit bans on their family, prevent their family from leaving, and then you can pressure them into shutting up.
Yes.
Simple, yeah.
Koala 1203, never forget Tiananmen Square.
Absolutely.
If only the CCP collapsed like the rest of the Eastern Bloc and Tiananmen Square protests succeeded. Yeah. Or it morphed into something better. Click all night. Maybe we can talk about how we remember Tiananmen Square when the CCP stops jailing and killing civilians for dissent. They're doing that today. I like that point. That's a great take because a lot of people think about remember Tiananmen Square? How bad is the same government? Not only is it the same government, they do the same stuff now.
They do.
It's just not in a square, right? They do it all around China. They silence and kill people every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Junebug, go Ukraine and what?
I think he requested a little.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah,
I have heard of Well said, yeah.
Yeah, Peter Daszak, you know, it really helped the Chinese government kind of divert attention away from the Wuhan lab of virology, or Institute of Virology, sorry, where he, of course, has a very vested interest.
Unknown person says, very goodly, good, yummy, yummy, 很好好吃.
Oh, you mean this?
好吃，很好好吃。
Yes, we'll get onto the sound bites a little later. Should we move on?
Yeah, Junebug, thank you very much.
Oh.
Let's go.
Okay, guys, we're going to now hit our Wumao corner. And we have almost like a professional Wumao, but we have a funny one for you here. And those of you, some of you may have heard of this woman.
Eileen Gu.
Yeah, we've spoken about her a couple times. Her name's Eileen Gu, and there she is over there. And this is just kind of a funny thing because, look, I'll be completely honest with her. She's obviously, I mean, with you, about her. And
Okay.
I feel like she's obviously a fantastic athlete, you know. She deserves her gold medals or whatever she has. I don't personally find her attractive. Not that makes any difference to anything. It's she's swanning around like some kind of superstar.
Well, I think you bring that up because she's now considered like holier than thou in China.
Yeah. And it's kind of ridiculous how she's, like I said, swanning around like a Hollywood superstar or something. So there's quite a funny thing that happened, and I'll get us out of here. But a Chinese netizen asked what films Eileen Gu had appeared in to merit her presence at the Cannes Film Festival, you know, because she went there on the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival, which, by the way, why? Why?
No why.
No
As
why.
we say in Chinese, 没有为什么.
Yeah. Like, why is she's not a movie star? She's
not.
She's a star
skier.
athlete.
She's a skier.
Yeah, she's a skier.
For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
I did some decent coverage on this, but she is an American citizen who chose to compete for China in the Olympics.
To represent China.
So she's getting she was paraded around China as a national hero. Look, she was used to soft power. It got so high up that even Xi Jinping was mentioning stuff.
Sure.
When Xi Jinping's mentioning stuff, that's like, whoa, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
it was prolific. She was being paraded around as like, look, she doesn't care about her country, America. America's fallen. It's in shambles. It's a dead country. Look at, she preferred to represent
Exactly.
her Chinese heritage.
So it's like, look, China is so much better than America that an American person would rather represent China than their own home country.
Correct.
Look how much better it is.
Now, none of this even matters.
Yeah.
Now, the reason we're bringing this up is that what happened was she went back to the U.S. and then all said and done.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of netizens in China, this is what we wanted to cover, is they got super pissed off because
Yeah.
she was this legend status, like abandoning America for her half country of China. She's mixed race, right? So China is her adopted home now.
Yeah.
She's being paraded as a proud Chinese person, blah, blah, blah. But then goes back to the U.S. and kind of like in media forgets all this ever happened.
I mean,
right?
look, that's the thing. She stuck around
Yeah.
pretending to be Chinese for the time it was beneficial to her.
Sure.
And then whether or not this had anything to do with it, but just when the lockdowns were being announced for Beijing, just then where she was hanging around, oh, lockdowns are coming. Suddenly she's like, thanks, China. It was all great. Bye.
Bye.
And she goes back to the U.S.
So the joke here is that Chinese citizens were making a funny
Yeah,
thing.
so this was the end of that whole thing. So the Chinese netizen they were asking, you know, what films has she been in to merit her presence on the Cannes Film Festival's red carpet? So another netizen answered, it's because she appeared as a Chinese person during the 2022 Winter Olympics. So that was her
guys
act.
get the
Yeah.
joke.
So that's why she should be at the film festival, basically.
Yes.
But of course, if you read the Chinese, it makes more sense. It's a bit funnier. But the whole point is like, why is she on the red
That's
carpet?
because she's an actor.
Yeah, it's
an
because she
actress,
acted as a Chinese person for that period of time during the Winter Olympics.
yeah. Right. So it was a good bit of humor from the Chinese side.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, which I'm fully on board with. I think it's true.
Sure. Anyway, she's probably out of the news for good now, to be honest.
Yeah. Now, look, unfortunately, this is not a topic that I want to cover at all, really.
No.
If we can
We'll brush on
avoid it, but we have to brush on it. The tragic shooting in Texas,
Yeah.
as we all know, has been an awful thing. And no one in their right mind could ever say anything other than how disgusting it is.
Yes.
Anyway, except for, of course, the horrible Chinese netizens.
Yeah. Of course, there was a lot of good support on the Chinese internet, but unfortunately, a lot of the top upvoted comments about this news were horrid.
I mean, look, here's the thing. Whenever there's a tragedy in the US, I've found immediately not only do this certain subset of Chinese netizens jump on it, but the Chinese government themselves. They start to use it as a reason why you shouldn't go to America, a reason why China is better than America. You've seen that with like Miss Wow and all those people going out there and saying like, look how dangerous it is in America because the shootings.
I didn't want to focus on this too much because of how like tragic it is and it's very recent.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, the whole point is that you do see the Chinese government jumping on
that's what we
tragedies.
had to show this.
And these are some of the comments that have been upvoted a lot, right? For instance, so the headline is May 24, school shooting occurred at an elementary school, South Texas, USA. How do you actually say that? Uvalde? Uvalde?
I think so. Uvalde.
Uvalde? Yeah, I don't know how to say that. 21 people, including 18 children, have been killed. So here's the comment that has got 1,500 likes. Says, your beautiful sight to behold. So a beautiful sight to behold. And the next one says, as Pelosi said, this is a beautiful sight to behold.
So that's actually a reference to when Nancy Pelosi was saying what she thought about the Hong Kong protests.
Yes.
People exercising their freedom and democracy. Yeah. She said it's a beautiful sight to behold. So a lot of hyper-nationalists in China use that as a weaponized statement every time something bad happens in the
and of
US.
Course, a bunch of people standing up for their democratic rights. And yes, those protests did get violent. How many people got killed?
In the what?
In the Hong Kong riots?
I don't know.
Like any? Can you quickly look that up? I don't want us to like misquote. I just want to, I mean, the fact of the matter is that's obviously not what she was talking about. She was talking about seeing the people, standing up for what they believe in.
That's not what we're talking about.
No.
I don't know. There's going to be no accurate information on that.
No, there has to, because...
4?
Is it 4? That's 2019. Let's see.
That's when
is it? Yeah.
Protest
yeah. The 4 who died became fictitious. But those were people that were like committing suicide or whatever, right? They would find them jump. Yeah, anyway, at the end of the day, what we're talking about here is somebody commenting on the movement of people that are standing up for democracy. And now you've got people using children being killed as... trying to flip that around, which is just disgusting and completely disingenuous, and you cannot even try to quantify or compare the two.
No.
Okay. Next one. Smell of freedom, sweet air. Now here's freedom, all right. Just that sweet air smells slightly bloody, and that's a reference to the student who, remember, made a speech.
Chinese student.
Yeah, Chinese student
in America
made a speech to say how, at a graduation speech, how when she got off the plane, she smelled the freedom in the air and all that kind of stuff. She got destroyed by the Chinese internet. She apologized. She went and like kowtowed and all that stuff, but they completely destroyed her. So they're trying to use that here as a reference. And then finally, we have a big response this time. It's because the victim's skin color. Let's throw in some racism in there just for the hell of it. Anyway, just had to put this out there because you have to understand that there is this certain subset on the Chinese internet, which of course really is very vocal and is upvoted. And these comments don't get censored or deleted, by the way.
No.
And remember, in China, the Chinese government will censor and delete anything that it doesn't condone. So in other words, if something's out there and being upvoted and discussed on the Chinese internet, it's because the Chinese government allows it.
Oh, I mean, they love this.
Yeah.
Because this is, any unrest in the U.S. is a huge soft power win for them.
Yeah.
So that's how they see it, unfortunately. When the issue is lives lost, and it's a tragedy for the families and everyone involved. Actually, a tragedy for my country, to be honest. Something that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But it's just disgusting to see this kind of, response.
No, of course, nobody celebrates this.
No.
You should not. You've got people here that are heir of freedom. Where are the bootlickers? Love to see their beautiful sight to behold. Nice. Play too much video game, want to try the real thing. Beautiful sight to behold. 3,500 likes, Yeah. So there's 3,500 people liked that comment to the person celebrating the shooting.
Yeah. Whereas that would be downvoted to oblivion anywhere else.
Absolutely. People wouldn't do it in the first place. No. Okay.
And if they were, it's some edgelord. Right?
Yeah.
This is a popular opinion.
It's a popular opinion.
That's what bothers me.
It really, really bothers me because when there's a tragedy in China, say for instance the earthquakes, the 2008 earthquakes, I was there for that, or there's a kindergarten stabbing or something.
Who's celebrating
nobody,
that?
No human being would be going out there and saying, "Great, look, good. This is a great thing,"
No, absolutely not.
So I just got to say it's a disgusting thing.
Right.
And we can't just let it lie. We have to show it.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, let's move on from that.
I liked this to
Okay.
round off Wu Mao Corner. He's the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Taiwan. So imagine him as the anti-wolf warrior.
Okay, anti-wolf
Because
warrior.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs, MOFA,
Yeah.
of China is our favorite wolf warriors, wolf
Sure.
flankers.
Yes.
And they go out there and they just say the most awful stuff. Just
Yes.
horrible stuff. Vile things.
Yeah.
And just, point the blame at every country around the world other than China. But the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from Taiwan, I love this quote. He says, "Don't worry about China getting upset at you. When they get upset at you, that means you're doing something right."
Yeah.
And I just thought that was great.
Yeah, that's a very good quote. So is that the end of our soft power hour? I mean, no, what am I saying? End of our Wu Mao corner.
That is correct.
Okay, so we're going to move into worldview. I think we'll just have an extended Yum
Sure.
Chow. What do you think? Okay, worldview. All right, this is where we talk about what's happening in the world, specifically with regards to China. It's kind of like what's new, but with a bit more of an international focus. You know what I'm saying?
Still doing the intros, eh?
Got to do it, man. That's what it's all about,
episode
right?
111.
Yeah. So China misquotes the UN,
Yeah.
doesn't issue correction. All right, so for those of you who don't know, the United Nations kind of fell into China's hands here.
A little bit of a trap.
This Bachelet, Miss/Miss, I don't really know,
yeah.
but Bachelet.
Bachelet, yeah.
Is it Bachelet?
Yeah.
Sure it's Bachelet?
Well, yeah, it's French, right?
I suppose so. Anyway, this very important UN figure went to go on a tourist visit, not an investigative visit, by the way.
No.
So it's not about investigating the claims of what's going on in Xinjiang, but she went there and they took her to Xinjiang and took her around to the tourist spots.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, what we can imagine.
Yeah. They took, obviously, they're not going to take her to the camps.
No, I'm just saying, like, I didn't see any footage from
Yeah.
that.
So, anyways, they took her
Did you
around.
think they give her a Casio watch?
maybe. Anyway, so they took her around, and then she got to see the region, and she got to sit down and
Warn
have
them
a
about human
chat,
rights, yeah.
have a chat about human rights, basically with China. It completely played into China's hands because now they can say, look, see, the UN went
They
to
came.
Xinjiang and they didn't find anything. Meanwhile, they weren't looking for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I'd say it's a net nothing.
Yeah.
A net nothing happened.
Pretty much.
But China tried.
Yeah, but now, here's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
You've got the things,
do,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
I'll read them.
but basically, before you read them, I'll set it up. At the end, she makes this big speech, okay, about what she saw and all this kind of stuff. So the Chinese state media went ahead and put out to the entire country the contents of her speech. What did they say she said?
This is what they said she said.
So this is what the Chinese government says that she said.
I admire the efforts and achievement China has made in the areas of poverty elimination, human rights protection, as well as realizing economic and social development.
What did she actually say?
She said, "We will be discussing sensitive, important human rights issues, and I hope the visit will help us work together to advance human rights in China and globally."
So they just made shit up.
They literally made it all up.
Dude, it's like, have you ever done that thing where you have a foreign movie and you don't have subtitles?
Yes, you just make
and you
shit
just
up.
make shit
Yeah.
up. Like they say
Funny.
something in French and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom or something.
right.
That's what they did. But
Right.
to the UN, whatever she is, ambassador /
Yeah.
whatever,
Human rights thing.
human rights person
Stuff.
who went on their little tour. They
Representative.
They force-fed lines about the poverty alleviation and that she admires Xi Jinping's efforts and the Communist Party's efforts at doing X, Y, Z. And she said nothing of the sort. And that's why, you know what? When the Communist Party doesn't hear what they like to hear, they simply make up.
They just make it up.
Yeah.
So it was just enough to get her to show up.
Yeah.
That's all they cared about.
So she was there, and now guess what? They didn't
Amend
retract
it.
or
No.
amend it. Everyone in China who's cut off from the real internet, by the way, now thinks that's what she said.
Correct.
Everybody around,
She's
especially
from Chile, by the way, not France.
That's from Chile. So then it's Bachelet.
Yes.
Yeah, Bachelet. No, I'm just talking shit.
Just wanted
now.
to make a
Anyway,
correction.
right. Thanks. Here's the thing. Everyone, especially in the more rural places, people that don't have access to a VPN or any kind of interest in getting over the Great Firewall of China, now think, because they read in the newspaper, they saw on the news that the UN Bachelet woman came in there and said that she admires what China's done for human rights. She admires the poverty alleviation. She admires all the stuff.
The human rights. Specifically the human rights.
And guess what? They won't ever see a correction to that. They won't ever see
now
a counter to that.
Everyone in China thinks that's what she said and that the human rights situation in China is great.
Yes.
The UN acknowledged it.
So your average, like, lower class person milling around in China now is going to think, wow, China must be so good because the UN came in and said that we're great with human rights and we lifted everyone out of poverty and they admire us.
They didn't even insinuate that.
No.
She didn't say anything like that.
She said we will be discussing sensitive, important human rights issues, and I hope this visit will help us work together to advance human rights in China and globally. That's what she said.
Yes.
Nothing of this, like, I admire your poverty alleviation. Where this poverty alleviation shit needs to shut up, by the way.
I know,
it's like the only thing that they can go for.
You know.
And it's not even correct.
It's incredible.
Anyway, it's so annoying. So now the UN actually corrected them and asked them to change
please.
it. Like, hey, you know, that we didn't say that, but they didn't.
They're like, we got what we wanted. Now you guys can go fuck off.
Yeah.
Because that's how they treat the UN and the rest of the world.
Yeah. They're just like, we'll say whatever we want. You. Yeah, we'll make up whatever we want. That's what they do. Lie to their own population.
Incredible stuff. It was actually just a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Mistake from the beginning.
The UN should not have done this.
No, and they were used. You know, but just be careful if you're reading any media. She and the UN didn't say anything like that.
No.
So don't read Global Times or something.
No. Yeah. So we just had to put that in there because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
We have to correct Elon Musk here.
Not just correct. Can we?
What?
You know when we warn you guys about stuff.
Right.
I know there's a lot of Elon fanboys. We're not Elon haters.
No.
We're nothing of the sort. But you got to be realistic, and you can never blindly. If you're one of those people that's like, no, Elon's great. He loves going to protect freedom of speech. Blah blah blah. And you put blinders on like this, you're doing what the Chinese government does with their own propaganda.
Sure.
Unfortunately. And the problem is, Winston and I have been warning you over and over again about what he's done to show his support for the Chinese government, to open up freaking car dealerships in Xinjiang during a genocide.
Yes.
Right? Current genocide
yes,
right now.
current, right now.
Praising the Chinese government, not only on Twitter, but in public, right? Like in his relationships with people. And then doubling down on working with China for future manufacturing stuff when people are trying to pull away from this genocidal regime.
Yeah.
And so when you constantly praise him and say, no, that's not the case, he's totally going to change his mind on China and stuff. I remember I went on Twitter and I saw a lot of people that were adding us and like quoting us and stuff saying like, you guys are right. Can you read this quote?
Okay, he said, few seem to realize that China is leading the world in renewable energy generation and electric vehicles. Whatever you may think of China, this is simply a fact.
Elon Musk, shut the fuck up.
Sure.
Because you know what China actually leads the world in is coal usage.
Yes.
So you can renew all you want, even though we've seen proof of them turning on wind turbines with electricity, by the way.
Yeah, to make them spin.
To make them spin. But let's just use your stupid piece of shit fact and just take it for what you say it is and say it's true, right? About this, Elon, you're wrong. You're so damn wrong. China not only uses the most coal, but is using more coal and is signed on for more coal usage and production.
Sure.
So what does it matter if you're using renewable stuff as well as that?
Yeah.
They're doubling down on using pollutants and increasing carbon dioxide emissions.
I mean, what is it? This is just a short-sighted thing to say.
Right.
Okay, so it's kind of like
wrong.
Let's say that I throw trash on the ground, a lot of trash. I throw tons of trash on the ground, right?
Yes.
But I throw so much trash on the ground that I throw more trash on the ground than all my neighbors combined, okay? In fact, I fill up the whole neighborhood with trash. But then I decide, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to start recycling the cans out of the trash.
Yes.
Okay? So I go and pick up all the cans. Now, the neighborhood, they say, wow, this guy recycles more cans than anyone else in the neighborhood.
Right.
But I also litter more than anyone else, and I destroy the entire place because everything else I throw, it's just terrible plastic shit that can't be recycled. That's what's going on here. He's saying, look, they recycle the most cans.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if they do a lot of this, if the other stuff they're doing basically just negates that stuff.
It cuts it off. Like, you can say, this is, to me, okay, you can say, let's just say this is true. Okay, it's true. But the other side of things is completely ignored. It's omission by design, right?
Yeah.
He's doing this on purpose, lying by omission.
You can build the biggest solar generating plant. You can build the biggest hydroelectric dam. You can build all these things. First of all, building them is devastating to the environment.
Yes.
The amount of bullshit that has to be done to build these things, as far as like just concrete and generating this and that, destroying the land, doing whatever you need to do. That's a huge thing. But then the power that you need to actually build it as well generates huge amounts of waste and coal usage and all that. But you're doing all of that, and on top of that, you're increasing your coal power plants at the same time. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. What China's doing is devastating.
If you're using renewable energy to try to mitigate coal usage, then great. But China is using more coal than it was previously.
Yeah, a lot more.
So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
It's like a dude who rolls coal.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a big diesel truck and he's rolling coal, but then he puts a solar panel on the roof to power his radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so he's like, oh, look, I'm using solar power for this. But meanwhile, he's rolling coal and burning out down the street.
That needs to be a visual representation that we'll use in the next episode. If you guys want to post on the subreddit.
Yeah, Elon Musk's got like a magnifying glass to the solar panel. Meanwhile, there's smoke belching out the back of his diesel truck.
That's a good political cartoon.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think there's also an analogy here that most people don't pay attention to, is that China keeps getting lauded as this green, they're planting the equivalent of
planting
whatever
trees,
forest, blah, blah. But then that's used by propaganda points. People like Elon Musk will go out there and talk about how China is amazing because they're planting so many trees as well, right? And then it's just conveniently ignored that it's monoculture.
Yes.
And China's doing monoculture, which is effectively destroying huge swaths of the environment.
Yeah.
And hurting and displacing people and their farms and their water supply. And all of this stuff just to fill a quota to say they're doing desertification, they're reversing desertification.
Yeah,
right?
Because I don't know if you guys realize this, but planting trees is not good for the environment if you do it wrong.
If you do it wrong,
yeah,
it's great if you do it correctly. That's the whole point. Like, you've got native species and you have a native ecosystem. But if you just go out there and like, we have to plant like so many acres of trees in a year or whatever, and you just plant in the same tree. Government quota.
Yeah, and you're planting it incorrectly, and it actually ends up using up whatever groundwater's there and just...
I've never seen anyone actually pull this like criticism out because no one can do investigative journalism there.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, when I lived in the desert region of China, and I had students that would go out there and they'd get brownie points and they'd get all kinds of bonuses and stuff within the Chinese government for going to do volunteer reverse desertification work.
Yeah.
In the Taklamakan Desert as well as the Gobi Desert. By planting monoculture trees, what they would come back and say is that, it's weird. We go out there with this big government entourage, take photos, and they plant all these trees and stuff. And it's really weird. It's like these little saplings in the middle of this desert, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's weird because all the local farmers are super mad at us and they throw stuff at us. And I'm looking into it. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Sure.
Turns out, like you said, the water table's being used up in already desert areas where people are really trying to eke out a living by doing very small farms, right? You have little apple orchards. You have little farms where they're growing very small amounts of crops just to get by.
Sure.
And then you'll have this government mass reverse desertification project comes in with 1 billion freaking saplings that sucks up everything. And the government may water them for a while, but then after that, it's just up to the people to deal with it.
Even watering them in those kind of desert areas, it takes away precious water resources from whatever, the reservoirs and stuff.
There's whole towns and cities that don't have enough water anymore.
Yeah.
And the government says, well, bad luck for you.
You got to always look at. You got to look past the headlines because it's very easy to be trapped in when you hear it like, oh, China's leader in renewable energy.
Right.
And you think, wow, isn't that amazing? Isn't that great? That's what the Chinese government is doing this for. Yes. They don't give a shit. They're doing this so that they can get those headlines.
Yeah.
So they will build this massive thing, very wasteful, very badly managed. The waste management will be terrible on that thing. They'll end up really destroying the environment in the process of doing it. But they get away with it. They get that lovely headline, and then it's whatever, and they just leave it afterwards.
My be-all and end-all, well said. My be-all and end-all about this is that you can like Elon Musk for what he does. You can like Tesla and do all this kind of stuff, but don't put blinders on to how much he sucked off the Chinese government.
Sure.
And it's so bad because it's damning. You get people that will look at this tweet or whatever he says, like it's from the Bible.
Sure.
Like it's freaking gospel. And then they don't look into it after that. And government and decisions are made based on things like this because rich people can go out there and say something important. And then people's eyes get off the real issue.
Here's the thing about Elon Musk. He's a fantastic businessman. He's obviously a very important person. He's the richest man in the world and all that. But he doesn't understand China.
No.
He really doesn't.
No.
He really absolutely
not.
doesn't understand
Remember his
China.
quote about, Americans are lazy and don't work, not like the hardworking Chinese people. Meanwhile, China has one of the lowest productivity rates per capita, like per hour of work. Number two, yes, the hours are tough, and a lot of that work is on the Chinese people's hardworking backs.
Yeah.
But that's basically glorified slave labor.
So he's saying slave labor is good.
Yes.
Anyway, fact of the matter is he really doesn't understand China well enough to be making comments like this, unfortunately.
No.
And people follow him around like a godlike figure. And they're like, oh, Elon Musk used this piece of toilet paper. I'm going to invest in stocks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got to watch out. You can't take his word when it comes to China. I can't say about other things because that's not our wheelhouse.
Talking about China.
But when it's China is involved, he makes the wrong calls all the time.
It's something we can safely say he's wrong about
Yeah.
almost every single time China comes up.
Yeah.
And it just pisses me off.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm not even invested in like Elon. I don't care that much.
Yeah.
But when this kind of stuff, it shows how you can turn public perception with such a stupid wrong tweet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Now, let's get on to the Tiananmen Square thing for a bit here. This is kind of the official narrative. Do you want to read what this is?
So this is a tankie talking point.
Yeah.
But what this is a convenient English translation of what you would see as the official narrative in China.
Yeah.
And that is Tiananmen Square when they ran over students with tanks and killed thousands of people in the streets. When the army came in and killed their own citizens for protesting the communist government of China, and asked for more transparency, all the demands that they made. What they're taught in China is that, number one, it didn't exist, and when it does exist, like when people do find out about it or it comes up, that it was warranted, and those people that they killed were actually terrorists, right? So this says, we remember the PLA soldiers who sacrificed their lives defending the country against domestic terrorism on June 4th, 1989. And this is what you'll see with the pro-authoritarian people that deny Tiananmen Square, kind of like Holocaust deniers.
Yeah.
You get these people that will go out there and say it didn't happen, and if it did, like only the bad guys were killed. They killed bad students that were actually or it was a CIA color revolution, or it was people that just wanted to cause shit, right?
Yeah.
So it's warranted that the PLA killed them.
You know, there were some soldiers who did get killed during that whole thing. It's true, they really were. But by a couple of students with Molotov cocktails or whatever the hell they had versus tanks and automatic rifles, it's not
a fair fight.
No fair fight going on there.
Didn't
and
need
you know,
to be a fight. There didn't
afterwards,
need to be a
the people that participated in this even got like a commemorative watch.
Yep.
You know, the soldiers.
It looks like shit,
it's a piece of shit watch.
Yeah, I feel like we've shown that before.
Probably have.
Yeah.
Anyway, the fact of the matter, these not very brave soldiers who just killed a bunch of unarmed students, unless you consider the occasional rock or something being armed or whatever. People are putting this kind of thing out to like commemorate those poor soldiers.
Those poor soldiers that mowed down their own citizens.
It's disgusting. Look, when you get into the tankie world, which tankies, for those of you who don't know, are these people that love authoritarianism and they love suffering, especially dead kids.
What's up with
they
that?
love that for some reason. It's like
because it furthers their agenda.
Yeah. Anyway, horrible people. Horrible. You go down this rabbit hole of these people. They are so twisted and disgusting.
Oh, it's really gross. It's a lot of narcissists as well.
Yeah. Pretty much every single tankie's got narcissistic
Personality
disorder. Anyway, this is the kind of crap they put out. We just had to let you know it's disgusting. What we need to remember is that the students who stood out and actually took that had the courage to stand up to the Chinese government, you know, they really need to be remembered because they were stamped out. And this actually was the end of courage in China.
Yeah.
After this happened,
yeah.
And this also, after this Tiananmen Square massacre happened, the Chinese government made it illegal for large gatherings.
Yep.
They upped the surveillance of everyone.
This is where everything changed.
Yeah, and it was after this that pretty much it was not possible to get together and have any kind of demonstrations or protests or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it put an end to that. And it
Right.
was really the iron fist of the Communist Party of China grasping the nation. And unfortunately, there's been no way to escape,
Yes.
ever since then. Anyway,
We just want to remind people that there is a fantastic memorial in
Yes.
California. If you go out west, you can find in the desert somewhere.
Yeah,
I believe it's called
Yermo.
Yermo.
yeah.
You have to go all the way out in the desert, and you'll
Yes.
find this massive monument.
Yeah, we actually have some-
6'4". Yeah, we went there just to
Yeah,
remind
there
you.
we
It's
go.
called Liberty Sculpture Park. That's right.
Yeah, it's Liberty Sculpture Park, and it's...
We went out there 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about 3 years ago. See,
This
it's
is
got
from 3 years
6'4". This is
Yeah.
where, by the way, often they have Tiananmen Square vigils and things there, which, by the way, you can't do in Hong Kong anymore. It's been
No.
banned in Hong Kong
Yeah.
after 33 years of it happening. You can't do it anymore. But yeah, they have this whole thing. It's definitely worth a visit. It's kind of like a pikey little in the middle of nowhere desert thing with a couple
Cool
of
though. There's
sculptures.
a lot of spirit and soul.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where the recently, the whole Department of
Jinping
Justice and the FBI or whatever it was, they caught these people that were working as agents for the Chinese government.
Just to burn down a Xi Jinping
Yeah.
statue that they found offensive, it was a really bad move for China, but it connected them to some really awful, scary stuff,
Yeah.
like proper Chinese agents here
Because
in America.
because they did this.
Yeah.
Because they burned. Remember, in fact, in this is an ADV China episode that we did.
Yeah, from years ago.
What's it called? Like the Communist Party's not going to like what we found in the desert,
yeah.
something like that. While we were doing this and going through this, I made that comment to you, and I said, I'm surprised that the Wu Mao don't come out here and vandalize
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And then they did go out and vandalize
But
it.
it wasn't
but-
Wu Mao.
No, it was the
actual
Chinese government-linked
spies.
people did
Yeah.
it.
And they had co-opted an American.
Yeah.
Like a ex-prison guard or something
Yeah.
from Florida.
Yeah.
They got him.
Correctional
The
officer.
DOJ got him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah. Anyway, my point is...
why
is
do we have the erased... Oh, we were
we're
talking
talking
about how
about
China erases the...
Anyway, just fast
tank
forward,
man.
you guys can see there's a whole monument out here.
Yeah.
If you live out in the West.
Yeah.
We went, as long as we lived out there, we only went there once.
Yeah.
And we did want to go after the statue was put up.
Yeah.
We never made it out, and then it got burned down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm pretty sure they'll be having a vigil.
Yes.
You can look it up. It's called
Yeah.
Liberty Sculpture Park.
That's right.
And, you see that sign's very famous where it says, give me liberty or give me
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
Well, you can pretty much guess which the Chinese government gave them because it wasn't liberty, was
Certainly
it?
wasn't.
Yeah. So, I don't know what this has got to do with anything, but let's fuss with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, there's a whole awesome, fantastic memorial out west that
Yeah.
you can see. They got a tank there.
Yeah. People put
People put
signs up there.
messages up there.
Definitely worth a visit if you're kind of passing by.
It's a pilgrimage for pro-democracy Chinese people.
Yeah. Absolutely. So,
There are a lot of here.
never forget.
Yes.
Okay. It says eliminate Satanist Nazi CCP.
Well, you can say whatever you want. It's freedom of speech, right?
yeah. Anyway, you can go leave your own little notes up there if you want, and that kind of thing. Check it out if you happen to be in the area. But I guess that pretty much brings us to the Yamcha segment of our show. So let's hit that, shall we?
Yes.
All right, so Yamcha, for those of you who don't know, is where we have our questions and answers section of the show. We're going to go through all your super chats, and we kind of just relax. I'm going to take off the tie, or at least loosen the tie. We can chill out and talk. And we leave it up for the weekend. On Monday, we cut it out of the show. So if you're watching live now, you get to see it. If you're watching on the weekend, you get to see it. Otherwise, you can always watch it through our Patreon if you like, which, by the way, I may as well give us a little plug for our Patreon, shouldn't I?
Yes, so if you go to patreon.com/ADVpodcast, we answer your messages there.
Yep.
Not only that, but you get to see the uncut version of the show.
Yeah.
And we'll post stuff there as well.
Yeah. Anyway, now that that's all done, for those of you who aren't
Please consider
sticking around,
support, by the way.
yeah. If you're not watching on the weekend or live, we'll catch you next time. Stay awesome.